Well, hello everyone, welcome back at Taroko Railways with me, Elizabeth, and thanks for joining me for yet another roll-out version of the Great Western Railways, and this is volume 6 of the roll-out. And today we are going to look at a Hornby release of 2020, and yes, you guessed it, is it a saint? Is it a thunder? Is it a stone? No, it is a star. Yes, we are looking at the lodestar today. So immediately you can see it's not the normal Hornby boxing, it is a branded colour box, and the lodestar is being preserved and on display at the National Railway Museum in York, and that is why this is a celebration version from Hornby, the much celebrated museum edition of the GWR Lodestar. Immediately on the box we can see a nice picture of the locomotive in front, and then also on the top of the box. And as per normal, at the back of the box we have the history of the steam locomotive, and then also the technical drawings and figurations and illustrations to the right of the box. And so on the side of the box we have the Hornby reference R3864, and that is the GWR Star Class and the 460 wheel arrangement, and the locus name the Lodestar, and the running number is number 4003 in DCC ready, and it is a 00 gauge. You see we have the normal ice packaging and unboxing of the loco. We will see the instruction and operational and maintenance pamphlet, and also the details accessory bag, and it holds the brake rods, coupling, and some vacuum pipes and other metal smaller pipes. Then the first thing that we see is this beautiful GWR green color with the chrome orange lining and the GWR crest rounding on the tender, and the nice running number, and also featuring an additional plate, and also the name plates, and loads and loads of lodestar details, like the very fine separately fitted rails and pipework all around the loco, and the details, and even the cab steps, a handle on the smokebox doors, sprung buffers, the red buffer beam, and gleaming running number and hook, reverse rod, and the details match the tender nicely. And on the tender we have the fitted handrails, and on the rear we have the pines, the hook, the steps, and riveting and sprung buffers on a red buffer beam and a printed plate, and the coupling on the top of the tender, the dome, and the tank feeder cover with the welded rings in the corners, and the sloping coal load. It looks realistic, and the tender footplate, water pickup control, the brake, the cab tender brake, and cab details. Moving along, we also see the cab tender footplate, and the seats are also separately fitted and painted, and the fire door handle stick that points out nicely, and the cab frames dials, and the regulator lever that stands out, which is really a great finish. And then obviously glass windows, and under the tender we also have the water pickup nozzle. A lovely loco indeed, and running on the layout it performs very well, and it's just amazing loco. and I must say I do prefer this one to the Saint Claus I have, but obviously, you know, the Saint Claus is much older version than the Star Claus I have on the layout. It's not the new tooling locomotives, it's still the old style tender locomotive. But yes, moving along, we are now finally getting to the favorite part, and that is the history of this lodestar. Following the successful introduction of the two-cylinder St. Claus 460 locomotives in 1902, the Great Western Railway's Chief Mechanical Engineer George Jackson Churchyard became interested in developing a more powerful four-cylinder type for the longer non-stop express services, especially ahead of the proposed increase to train weights and speed schedules that were part of GWRs for the end of the decade. Churchward was impressed by the French compound 442 and persuaded the GWR's board to purchase the examples for comparative trials. These trials showed that whilst the St. Claus were as efficient as the French engines, in particular a Gwr built by Société Alcacena de Constructions Mécaniques, the four-cylinder design resulted in smoother ride at high speed. Churchward built and tested his own prototype four-cylinder simple expansion locomotive, incorporating ideas from the French locomotives such as the domeless, tapered boiler and Belpaire firebox. Built as a 442 but designed so that it could be easily converted to a 460, it was built in April 1908 and numbered number 40, later to be named as North Star. The first production Star Class locomotive 4001 Dog Star was built in 1907 with a revised 460 wheel arrangement that improved adhesion, and in all 73 Star Class locomotives were built in 7 batches until 1923, when they were superseded by the larger and more powerful Castle class. As a result, between 1925 and 1940, 15 Star Class was converted to Castle class designed by Charles Collett, Churchward's successor as the CME. In service as anticipated by Churchward, the Stars proved better suited to the high-speed express trains than the Saints, and their reputation quickly grew, no other locomotive in Great Britain at that time being able to match the performance figures of the class. The Stars cost more to build, maintain and service than the Saints, but quickly established themselves as the Great Western Railway's flagship locomotives class. Those of the class that were not converted to castles continued in service relatively unmodified, although it was only during the period between 1925 and 1927 that the Stars appeared in any sort of uniform appearance, albeit that tenders of 3,000, 3,500 and 4,000 gallon capacity were paired with locomotives. The first star to be withdrawn was 4018, the Somerset Light Infantry, in October 1925, followed by 15 more locomotives before 1948, leaving just 47 engines to enter British Railways ownership in January 1948. The class survived until October 1957 when the final member 4056, Princess Margaret, was withdrawn from Bristol Bath Road Shed. Locomotive number 4003, Lodestar, the locomotive we have here on the layout at Taraka 00 Railways, entered service with the Great Western Railway in February 1907 and received the first of its modifications, the superheated boiler, in May 1911. The second major alteration took place in March 1948 when elbow pattern outside steam pipes were fitted. However, just 2 years later, in July 1951, locomotive 4003, the Lodestar, the loco we have here on the layout, was withdrawn from service while allocated to Landor. At this point, it had covered 2,005,898 miles. Lodestar was preserved at the Great Western Museum in Swindon from 1962 and was transferred to the National Railway Museum in York in 1992, where it was a static non-working exhibit. Added to the National Collection, the Lodestar remained in storage at Swindon until 1962, as previously stated, and it was moved to Swindon Railway Museum as a static exhibit until 1 March 1992, when it was sent to the National Railway Museum in York. The locomotive has since been exhibited again in Swindon at STEAM, the Museum of the Great Western Railway, and more recently back at the Railway Museum in York. In 2010, Lodestar was moved to STEAM Museum in Swindon as a static non-working exhibit. In November 2015, it was moved back to the National Railway Museum, where in June 2019 it was on the publicity open pit, permitting examination of the underneath of the locomotive, including the inside cylinders and valve gear. So with that, a very nice loco to have on my layout and very special history indeed. Thank you once again everyone for joining me at Taraka 00 Railways and looking at the Lodestar. See you soon. All my best. Regards, Elizabeth.